that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, I just don't. So yeah,
All
we're
right.
live. Hello, everybody. Hope all of you guys are doing well. I'm just going to take a moment to make this live, and then I think we can get started with today our very special guest introduction. Just give me a second. Though, like, all of you guys are now like chiming in, I'd love if you can, share out on your timeline or wall or whatever you want to call it. You can just do that, so that's like better, and then everybody, like your friends, family, frenemies, enemies, can all see that. Yeah, and this is again, I don't know why it's taking so much time. And even if you want to do that later and listen to the conversation right now, you can start a watch party later. That this will be on my wall, so you can do that. Okay. I was very carried away with what I was doing. Now I'm back. It's done. So hello everybody. Hope all of you guys are doing well. I'm doing well, just so you know. And today we have such an amazing guest. And I'm honestly, very lucky that he gave me the time and, just, the will to ask questions to him and about him. And I feel like that is a very brave thing to do. So congratulations.
I'm beginning to regret it already. Should I be worried?
No, you shouldn't be. There's no personal questions. I don't ask you certain things online. But yeah, we never know how a conversation is going, and nothing was planned beforehand. So we're like, okay, we're going to go wild and let's keep the beauty of the conversation by, just having him answer like in the moment, or just like putting him at the spot. That's nice. I just love it so much. So yeah, it is fun. It's putting the guest on the spot. It is. It's like, oh my God. And they're thinking, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so good about it and not so good about it, but I really love my guests. Let's just say that. So yeah, let's have your introduction, and I think then we can like formally start this conversation.
Okay. You want me to introduce myself?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm Martin Murphy. I live in the United Kingdom, and I coach leaders, people, teams, and my background a long time ago was military and security, and then it kind of changed direction. I got involved. Went back to college and got a degree in environmental studies, and then to understand my own behaviors and things, I did a lot of psychology. So that I'm a blend of working in high performing teams, leadership, setting up teams around the world, got an environmental ecology bent to it, and I'm also very interested in psychology. Recently, a couple of years ago now, wrote a book called From Mercenaries to Missionaries, which is about sending. There you go. You can get it on Amazon. Which is about journey business owners can go towards creating high-performing, self-managing, autonomous teams. Basically, enough.
Yeah. Okay. So let's like start from like the beginning. And by the way, you can always ask me any questions about myself. So, you're open to that. So let's begin from like the beginning. Where were you born? And do you have like any memories of your early childhood? No matter how long ago that is.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I basically, my childhood, I was growing up into a dysfunctional family environment, if you like. And so it was quite a traumatic kind of time for people, I suppose. But so at one point, I decided I'd had enough of living at home, and I ran away and joined the army. Not necessarily because I wanted to be in the army, but it was somewhere where I could live and get fed. And I was quite into the outdoors, shoots, climbing, all that kind of thing. So yeah, I did okay at it. Didn't want to be institutionalized, so I came out, and then I got a job setting up security teams around the world for airlines to stop terrorism and narcotics smuggling and that kind of thing, human trafficking. And did that for a while, and then just basically moved into bodyguarding, doing surveillance for private companies and things like that. And then, it was about that time I thought I'd like to try something else. I did actually go into the special forces for a while, so that's where this idea of elite team concept that I talk about comes from. But again, just long enough to see if I could do it. Really, it was more of a challenge than anything else. I didn't have that. I was told one day to stop thinking. I was thinking too much. I thought there was no chance I was ever going to stop thinking. So I came out of the military and decided that, then I went back to college. I went to college and got a degree in environmental studies. That gave me some insight into systems thinking and ecology, and actually it pulls back the veil of what you're told in the media about what's happening in the world, politics and that kind of thing. It was a wide area. And then I got into psychology. I did neurolinguistic programming to start with, hypnotherapy, CBT. I studied lots of different things, and then eventually moved into learning a little bit about spiral dynamics and lots of different philosophies, if you like, and ideas. And I like connecting them. So I get disparate fields and then I connect them together. So I then got into coaching. Well, first of all, it was personal training, and then I was personal training business owners usually, or managers or lawyers and things like that. And they were finding the conversations that we were having were more impactful to them. They were enjoying that than me telling them to run so many miles, So whilst doing that, I realised, this is something that people could really use. It's a way to unlock more of their potential. Quite often it's our beliefs that stop us from doing things. So I did that and for a while, and then eventually got moved into a job as a performance consultant with a boutique agency, coaching leaders and teams. And then I carried on. I then developed my own ideas around it. Tested them by, a couple of years ago. I was teaching intelligence agents leadership skills and stuff like that. So it was all about decision making and beliefs and confidence and all those different elements that make us kind of successful and happy. And so I put together some my own models, if you like, and then I wrote a book, and then that's kind of what I do now. So at the moment with COVID, I've been coaching leaders. Sometimes small businesses. I developed the elite team concept, which is where the business owner actually passes power and train the team to be able to make decisions for themselves, be collaboratively powerful, and be creatively brilliant. So eventually the business owner can step away from the business and the business can run with the team. Yeah.
I think it's nice that you gave a detailed one. Now tell me, was there like a moment of like realization, or like what was it that like really was like environmental studies? Because it isn't just like a normal day that you like, environmental studies is my thing. And then now, fast forwarded it to now, you're also helping businesses being more sustainable, right? And then which also would positively impact other aspects of a business. Now tell me, how did that come from?
Okay, well, because I've been in the military and I've been to the Himalayas climbing and stuff with the army, I thought I would come out and shift and become a outdoor pursuits instructor, teach climbing and stuff like that. And then so part of that, you needed to have some sort of degree, teaching degree. I then realised that doing the university course wouldn't make me able to, I'd still have to go and do more learning on top of that, and I thought that's too long, that. So I just swapped to doing a degree in environmental studies, which I found it fascinating. When I was a child, I wanted to be a marine biologist, but I wasn't very good at school. I was getting into trouble again because of this dysfunctional kind of life, family life, if you like. And but so yeah, I was like kind of returning back to what I wanted to do as a child, really. But then when I got the degree, I kind of realised, well, there's not much. There were already people doing it. It's this thing about having to find where's your blue ocean sort of thing. Have you heard of the blue ocean, red ocean thing? So you don't really want to get into it. You want to try and use the skills you've got and find your own path. And so that's basically why I didn't kind of follow become an ecologist or an environmental scientist or whatever. But yeah, after doing that, that started the learning journey, and then I just voracious learning and well, ever since really. And so yeah, so one of the core things is Buckminster Fuller said, don't try to fight the existing reality, create a new one that makes the old one obsolete. And what I noticed when I'm working in bigger organizations, they have a lot of resistance, because as soon as you introduce hierarchy, then it creates it creates a certain psychological thing that taps into evolutionary psychology. And so my idea was to kind of think, right, okay, rather than try and change the world, just change small businesses or small individuals and empower them to understand this kind of stuff. And in doing so, if you create enough of those kind of individuals that are able to take back their power, and they're more able to change the world. And that's it, the general idea, anyway.
Yeah, and I feel like small businesses are very important, even if you just at times would never mind them. Um, I feel that they are so important, and people do ask me questions as to how do you think, is my country or is the world making progress in, fighting for climate change, and how they're, taking more conscious steps towards protecting the environment. And I feel like yes, because they are now coming in shapes and forms of, I would say, small businesses. There's many businesses, and there's many businesses that are just supporting, or nonprofit or profit organizations that are supporting, climate activists. So it's all so beautifully interconnected with how things are working right now environmentally, and then how business expects if it come out, because everybody, want the best for their business, yet they would want to be helpful and would want to be contributing to, the betterment of the environment, and would want to contribute to the people. And so everybody just wants to be helpful to,
yes,
giving.
creating sustainable businesses it's just and protecting the environment, it's just good business. I think the challenge that we've had is the fact that actually go back to about 10,000 years ago, we weren't hierarchical. We tended to be more egalitarian, and it's only because we've become hierarchical, we've used a capitalist system where people create these instruments that hoover power and money and everything to a small group of people. Well, that's just not sustainable. And so, technology, AI, and robotics is part of the think-do decision-making process. They want to be able to think. They're just replacing humans. They've wanted humans to be widgets. So they haven't wanted empowered people. They've just wanted people that will do what they're told, command control. And of course, now we've got AI and robotic and things like that. Those jobs are going to disappear. So what do we need people to be? Well, we want people to be human. And that means being creative, collaborative, communicating, all the good things about them, socially and emotionally intelligent. That's what we need people to be. But we've been following this manufacturing industrial revolution model for so long that people need to be trained how to be empowered. And also, you've got to let the old industries have got to kind of let go of control, really, and move on.
Yeah, And you know what? I really believe it. Small businesses, especially with just being sustainable, and then also advertising themselves of being sustainable is a great way of first marketing your idea. And then I feel like many startups and many small businesses at some point they would consider for funding, and they would consider investments for equity, and there's so many things that this comes on with investment. I feel like I know many investors that have got no idea what sustainable development goals are, but even if you just start mentioning that in the way that you pitch or just the way that you promote your idea, I feel like you have a higher chance. Because even the investors and even the people that are, angel investors, even they want to feel good about themselves once in a while. They're like, oh my God, I feel good about myself. By investing in something, I'm helping, directly or indirectly, one way or another, helping the environment or helping
Yeah.
the people. So I feel that is a very nice thing if you would want to get funding or would even want to win. There's a lot of challenges that come up with actually quite some prizes. So I feel like that is a very good way to just promote and market your idea. What do you have to say about
Yeah, if you okay, so the challenge that people have with this is that we have in we're people say, Simon Sinek, if you've heard of him, he kind of says start with why, but other people have done it. We've always known that purpose is very, really important. That's the inspiration. Major challenge is that people have wanted to be inspired and have a sense of purpose that they're contributing to something big themselves. Want to be inspirational, which means that they kind of, this is who I am. I'm a good person. I'm supporting the environment or the community or whatever it is. Then the problem is motivation. Now, motivation is pain and pleasure. So we want to move away from pain and towards pleasure. Well, it's a survival mechanism. But the key is, the secret is that the purpose and the inspirational goals and the aspirational goals have to be in line with the motivational one, and usually they're not. And so, from a psychological point of view, you might want to change the world, you might want to do this, but if you're going to starve in that attempt, that's no good. And so the key thing is, I realize, is that you've got to have those aligned, aspirational, inspirational, and motivational. And the way I do it with the businesses is that I make, so in small, say I'm working with a smaller business and their team is growing. If I make the team self-managing and self-organizing, they'll be happier. It makes the business more scalable because if the owner isn't involved in the day-to-day operation of the business, it means it's easy to sell. It makes it more scalable because I use a certain way of doing that. It makes it more saleable and it makes it more valuable. So when they do come to sell it, it's worth more money. And so there you've got this idea of, by helping people be engaged and enjoy work more, actually that's inspirational. That's aspirational. It's also motivational because they're going to benefit from it as well. And that's the keys. You've got to line those up for it to be attractive to people, not just on the inspirational level, but also motivational.
Yeah, so there's this question by Mohammed Khan Lagari, and he's saying that what type of a business we do at the village. So what he basically means is that we have a lot of villages, and I'm sure that you also have like countrysides, probably in everywhere, But what kind of small businesses could be established within a village that would be both helpful to the people and both, also you earn money because that is, well, nowadays it is important to sustain as a respective, human being. So what kind of small businesses? I can share some, and what do you feel?
I think, first of all, you've got to think about the philosophy of it. So what the Industrial Revolution taught people is to create taps. So what that gets resources and takes it to a small group of people who then have control of the tap. So that the water or the resource or the wealth that comes out of that is owned by a few people. So that's hoovering up all the resources from the communities and from the area. from a vast area and focusing it. And of course, that's unsustainable. What we need is local economic generating opportunities where people, instead of having massive industrial farms, have small farms, whatever it might be, trade amongst yourselves. It's almost like you need to start at the community level and, to save the environment or save, to make life worthwhile. You can do something quite simple as long as you can trade it amongst each other, and generate the wealth going between it, whatever that might be. So again, what is it, whatever your strengths are, and then solve a problem. So rather than me trying to tell you what business it should be, is, well, what's your skill set, and how could you solve that and tell that, to someone else? At the end of the day, it's trading, isn't it? So whatever your skill set is, what pain or solution can you provide other people?
Yeah, and what I'd like to say is that in a village, you see a lot of times when people from an urbanized area would come to the village, they'd be like, oh my God, this is so organic and this is so sustainable. And, they say many things. And right now we're dealing with this problem of somehow addiction with our, mobiles, and also addiction with our laptops. And I mean, work is on there. So now we do have to do some things, but then entertainment is also there and friends are also there, and everybody, our entire life is kind of like in the same device right now. So I feel like many people, and I know many people that do digital detoxes, but they just at their house, how can they do so? Because everywhere with everybody, there are these devices.
Yeah.
So why not at the village, you have this experience that can be created, that you come to our village. You leave your phone and laptop and everything behind because there's no internet connection in most of the villages right now. And you come here, enjoy your digital detox and see how other people live. And then what you can do is that maybe you have like 5 houses, households that will be, actually willing to let another person stay at their house, right? And you come here and then you live with them and you help along, and you don't treat them like outsiders. You treat them as if they're part of your family. You ask them to bring things. You ask them to do your work as well. So if that is done, I feel like there's a lot of harmony that can be created within your village, and also with the people that come in would bring in more friends the next time they go on a digital detox. That's like a cool way to promote it.
Yeah, the ecotourism is going to be massive, isn't it? And I should imagine it'll be bigger as well, because people want to see various parts of the world. I know there are situations where you can travel around Europe, around the world, in fact, working at different farms and things like that. People love doing that. And all you have to do is feed them. They're quite happy just come and do work because it's the experience. So it's I think the experiential stuff, as you said, people come and do digital detox, things like that, retreat. Yeah, big idea, big business.
See, come on, who it comes from is very special. So the idea has to be special. Yeah. So now tell me, how important do you think in general is for a business, for any business, be small, be big, be like super huge corporate level, whatever, to be sustainable?
Well, it's always been important. The problem is that we've just ignored that. And so, which is why we have major problems now. The generation before you didn't worry about it. And now they're leaving the problem for you guys to solve. There's a few of us trying to make our bit, but really, it's down to decision making. One of the things I teach is how to make ecological decisions. Part of this idea of empowering people to make their own decisions in a business is that you can lead from the front, as opposed to just one person at the back to make all the decisions. It's always been important. It's just been ignored. And I think, you know, considering the climate change situation and things like that, yeah, it's all the tech and all the robots won't be able to stop a tsunami coming across the world, or, you know, rising sea levels and things like that. It's really important. Yeah, we've been programmed or marketed into a kind of paradigm. It's almost like I don't know if you've seen the film The Matrix, but you know, there's a paradigm. There needs to be a paradigm shift. At the moment, we're paradigm blind to the fact that, you know, we think that we need another kind of digital revolution. No, we need a human revolution. We need to be more human and realize that by being egalitarian and being more local and community focused, you know, that's scalable. More community scaling. It'll be a lot less damaging to the planet than these, as I said before, taps. You know, they're basically just things that just hoover up our attention. Or, you know, like I said, the digital thing, Facebook and all the social media and things like that are hoovering up our attention and just keeping, you know, that's all part and parcel of it, isn't it? So yeah, it's life and death, isn't it? It's sustainable.
True. And you know, I just still love the fact that right now, with the rise of, you know, young people advocating for the environment, and, you know, I feel like, and with also the rise of Instagram, how, you know, certain Instagram hashtags, they're like, oh my God, there's so many people, millions of people that are watching and following, and you get a lot of appreciation, and you get a lot of people that are, you know, applauding you for what you're doing. So I feel like young people really need that, and they're getting that on social media, though it's also a good thing if used for the right thing. And, you know, all of a sudden advocating for leatherback turtles is like a cool thing now. Advocating for, you know, climate change is a cool thing now. So, you know, it's like, it's just so like put in that cool box. And I feel like as long as it stays there, the climate is going to heal, because we're paying so much attention to it. Yet there are some people that don't. I mean, I don't know why. But do tell me how much, because I mean, it's so interesting that what you do, like, you know, first now, you know, the military background was like, no offense, quite some time ago, let's just say that. And then, you know, your environmental studies, and then, you know, your psychological career as well. Now tell me, I feel like both of them are really like connected to each other, because you need that mindset and that, you know, psychological will to just be more sustainable and be more caring towards the environment. How much do you think does it contribute, our psychological states and our psychological mindset, you know, whatever you want to call it, the technical term, contributes to us being sustainable and better human beings?
Yeah, it's an awful lot. What I found is that, you know, we look at contemporary hunter-gatherer communities in the world, especially like the San tribes people in the Kalahari Desert. They lived for, they're the oldest civilization, well, the oldest people, if you like. Their DNA is the oldest, and they've outlasted Roman dynasties, Chinese dynasties. You know, they've outlasted civilization with a lot less war, and they were fairly egalitarian, and they were called the original affluent society. Okay, in like the 1960s when someone first studied them. And what we know from that is that more than likely they were egalitarian for about 150,000 years, and it's only in the last 10,000 years, since, you know, the very start of the agrarian revolution, where someone got some technology, probably a bloke, and then managed to get an advantage over other people. And that's what that's done, is taken us back even further from before the egalitarian time, when we lived in dominant hierarchies, which is much like how animals live. And we didn't sorry, it's my dog. We didn't compete our way to the top of the evolutionary tree. We collaborated our way there. And so the idea of competition, we're not in competition. We need to live in harmony with each other and with, you know, with the planet. It's not rocket science. It's just greed and lack of being willing to share resources and wealth and things like that is the challenge. instead of one person, the guy here, reporter, who said that what we need is public wealth and private sufficiency. What the capitalist system does, or the way we're operating at the moment, it means that like one or two people get really rich and everyone else is poor. The public are poor. Well, we want to, instead of one person having access to a really fast car, we want those to be right, and technology will help with this. We want the wealth to be shared more equally. And for I just think, just because you're really rich doesn't mean that you're all going to be happy. Because you spend half your time worried about what's going to happen to it. I know it make a difference up to a point, but more and more wealth doesn't necessarily make you happier. So, why don't we start shifting our psychology to appreciate other things which are more human?
So true. Very amazing that you shared that. Thank you so much for being on. It was so awesome, just being here with you and learning so much. And I see that my audience too would get like a thing or two. And if you don't, then you can always text me for like feedback, both for the guests and for me. So yeah. And thank you so much for being on. The last two things I'm going to ask you is, first, if somebody would want to reach out to you, how can they reach out?
You can find me on martinmurphy.coach. It's my website and my personal website, and you can also find me on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's where you find me. martinmurphy.coach. Google it. Okay.
Yeah. And the last question, what is a short message that you'd like to give out to all the people in the audience?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that one. Caught me out with the last one. I think, we give our power away. Just keep asking yourself the question, who's got the power here? We give our power away so many times to other people or to institutions or things like that. How can you get the power back to you and start being more self-reliant, if you like?
Thank you so much for being on. It was an honor having you on. Please stay back after I end the broadcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for commenting. There's quite some people that commented. I'm sorry if I couldn't show it all at the time because we have a time limit. So thank you so much and goodbye.